There you go. We are live but not recording. Just making sure everything else is already set up. Cool. All right, JT, you want to get started?
Yeah, we're recording.
All right, 3, 2.
All right, y'all. Welcome back for another week of Mad Sports Talk. We got a Week 6 recap on college football. All the boys made it back from Houston, safe and sound. So let's go ahead and start off with that. To start this, again, this is Mad Sports Talk. Recap on Week 6, Texas Tech Houston, our experience, and then we got the AP poll. So I guess we'll start Tech Houston. Guys, what are our thoughts on that game?
Who wants to take it first? I guess I'll go first. It was very enjoyable experience. I will say I was a little surprised by how nice Houston Stadium was. I was expecting it to be a little bit more small, but overall it wasn't too bad. Going into this game, a lot of smack talk, a lot of just banter and whatnot between both schools, mostly from Houston fans. One big thing I want to kind of reverse ask all of y'all is about the blue out, right, that they held. So I've seen a lot of Tech fans saying, it was mostly, us. And then I've also seen Houston fans saying, nah, it was more like 70-30, 80-20 them. So, what did y'all think? Since all four of us were at the game in person, how do you think it balanced out in terms of ratio of like a 50-50, 60-40? What do y'all think?
I mean, we had a whole half of the field to ourselves. The away section was completely red. The only thing that was blue was basically their own student section, and they even proved it when they posted the thank you for showing up in blue, and they just showed the student section. They didn't show the whole stadium. So yeah, it was definitely a blue out. Definitely was red and blue, and you could tell the red side was rooting for Tech.
Yeah, I really don't know what goes through their minds when they decide to do a blue out.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely an odd choice to do against a team that their also main colors are red. So it's kind of like
do it against BYU, Colorado, like some team that doesn't wear red. Because let's say Texas Tech, for some reason they decided that they wanted to wear green jerseys. Like I understand that Houston wears it for the Oilers. They had some trouble. They got in trouble for wearing them because technically they don't own the color or something. But let's just hypothetically that Texas Tech decided they want to wear green. And like 2 years from now, they're going to have a green out. It's kind of asking the same thing out of Houston, who's wore red their whole existence. It's kind of silly to expect all your fans to come out and either buy blue, especially if you're not giving them blue. I think they gave students maybe some blue shirts. I'm not sure about that. As an alumni, you're banking on people to come out and buy that specific color when you're going up against a team whose main color is also red, and they're very similar shades of red. Yeah, I got the towel too. That's what they gave. So that's not wearing blue. I do think
they were not giving us
from a zoom out. It was probably, color wise, it was definitely like 60-40 red, but probably fan wise, it was 50-50. That's in my mind. The Tech fans.
I think the other bad part about you choosing red was your school color is red, so even the people who don't have a powder blue, they're going to show up to the game wearing a U of H red.
Yeah, it looks like a Tech fan.
Yeah, and it's
It's probably one of the most stupid things they could have done.
And they did it for the basketball game last year too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you are playing BYU, like BYU is also blue, so that just adds to it. Like it's like you could tell different. Obviously, like it's different blues.
Yeah.
But I saw some Houston fans comments, and they're like, y'all had like nobody there, and I have a video of people leaving in the fourth quarter, and I looked out, and maybe our side, like the side that me and AJ were on, like it was probably more blue than it was red, if I'm gonna be honest with you. But when we were looking out, and I have a picture of it, and it's pretty obvious, like all those people were there after the game, and they were all doing the Matador song. I was down there with them. I have a video of the Matador song. Like it's over. I'd say it was at least 70-30, at least, which 70-30 is still a crazy ratio considering And I also want to bring up the fact that that was their third highest attendance ever in that stadium. And it was 42,806, which the 806 to me is very weird. But I just, no, it was it was definitely more than 70-30. I mean, it was probably closer to 50-50. I'd say 60-40 was a good number, but that's really embarrassing when it's arguably your biggest home game of the year and you're getting your tickets bought out by the opposing school who's 8 hours away. Now, granted, that's like an easy drive compared to the rest of the Big 12 schools, but it's like it just really that was a terrible marketing idea from them, and it really just it didn't work out in their favor. And all these fans trying to defend themselves, and they're like, well, I read it was Houston and all this stuff. Like it, sure, I'm sure some of it was, but when you look at the whole stadium, there's a reason why on their post they didn't show that one side, and they know why that reason is.
I mean, even when they do show the blue post, it was angled in a way where it avoided the one side that was completely red out. I mean, they basically avoided Sam's side completely because Sam sat with the Tech fans.
Well, that was the Tech, like when my dad bought tickets like 5 months ago. Whenever he got season tickets renewed, he bought them through the school. So like there was no Houston fans near us. It was all like the Texas Tech. It was like all the parents and stuff because you can see the players that have the parents that have like the jerseys of their kid. So it was all the Tech side. Like tortillas were thrown in that section. So that at least that second, I couldn't see below me on the first level, but from what I've heard,
it was the same thing.
It was the same thing.
Dude, it was
almost a third of the arena. I mean, third of the stadium.
13, I'd say 13 to 15 of the sections near you were just flat out Tech. And like 3 of them were the band, obviously. But like,
the band was awesome.
That's still when you're an away team and you can fill, like you can obviously see that you filled 15 sections of an opposing team's stadium at least. That's insane.
Like, I'm pretty sure TCU is closer to Houston, and I'm pretty sure TCU plays at Houston this year. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's the last game of the year.
Like, yeah. I don't see TCU coming in selling out like the TDECU stadium.
Speaking of which,
look at that.
Or Baylor. Like, those are schools closer than we are. So.
You see all
that? It was completely red.
Like that's what I'm talking about.
The Raider
from
power.
An aspect of the stadium itself, like AJ and I had like probably the craziest view. And in Houston from that section up in the top right up there, that's probably one of the most underrated views of college football. Like that was sick. We walked up there not expecting anything, and that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like just the city backdrop over the stadium. Like that was by far one of the coolest experiences I've ever had at a game.
Well, because when they built the stadium, they had that intended so you could see the Houston skyline. But then they built the practice facility, which is right in that corner. So like the second level was supposed to see the skyline, but then when they built the practice facility, it blocks it. So like now it's only the third level that you can like see the skyline. So interesting stuff.
No, that was. I got up there and I FaceTimed my parents. I FaceTimed like family, friends and stuff. And I was like, y'all got to see this. Like, this is insane. It was a really cool way to watch a game. And I haven't sat up high like that in a while at a game. And it was kind of refreshing just being able to watch plays develop and constant movement. And you can kind of respect who gets put in motion more. You can watch the DBs shift more. You can see how gaps open up. Like, it was honestly it was refreshing sitting up high again. Like, because that's something as a football fan you should enjoy.
Oh, I just pulled up the picture from the game, and you can see that whole right side. They've cropped it to where you can't see how much red there is, but it's still, you can see all that. Especially where the band's at. Everything below it is nothing but red.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the actual game. I mean, we got the experience out of the way. Obviously, like I'd rate it pretty high. I enjoyed my time. I hope y'all. I'm pretty sure we all did.
No, for sure.
Let's talk about the actual game itself. Very defensive effort wise from us. Very good again. Hit right on our average of points allowed per game. Had a little more rushing yards allowed than we wanted. I feel our biggest problem, which is not really a big problem, is quarterback keepers, and that's the biggest. Also DBs. some of the deep balls they have are inexcusable. But
I mean, their only
I
touchdown
think
of the
really
night.
is Jacob Rodriguez is a better pass reader than Ben Roberts. I say you put Ben Roberts as a spy when you know there's quarterbacks that can run, especially this week against Daniels in Kansas. Like, you need a spy on Jalen Daniels the whole game because that dude can move. So it's stuff like that, and it's little things on defense. But ultimately, we played really well on the defensive side of the ball. But I think those are two key areas that we really need to improve in.
Yeah. I think that's, you're nitpicking at this point because Coach McGuire says today that this is the best defense in the country. And the defensive line is just, it's like, how can it get better? Like, it is about as good as it can get. We talked a little bit in our group chat today about David Bailey. Like, watching that video, like, he does every move. Like, he's not, like, most good edge rushers are good, like, really good at one thing. But David Bailey can get to the quarterback in, like, any way. He can bull rush, he can speed rush, he can spin off of a dude. It doesn't matter. And he's number one in pressures on the season, which is crazy to think because, first 3 games, he didn't play the whole game. Like, for sure the first 2, he probably only played 2.5 quarters. And then the Utah game, he's going up against, at the time, 2 consensus first-round offensive tackles. And so to be number one in pressures, and we've had a bye week.
Yeah.
Like,
I sent the
guy.
video, right? I sent that video
Yeah.
of him just running that dude over. Yeah.
He's just like, it's crazy. And like the thing I love about him, like he doesn't wear gloves. Like it looks so weird. He's like the only dude out there that doesn't have.
I'm gonna try and put it.
See.
You can. I don't think you can see this.
Oh my gosh, it is bright. He just runs guys over.
Let me turn the brightness down and see if that helps. I don't know. I'm trying to pull this up.
Are you talking about this?
Here we go. That's
there we
better. Look at him. That's a guy.
It's like
running over a running back.
He's pushing a sled in practice.
I don't see how he doesn't go top 10. I think as the season goes on, the fact he's from Big 12 will knock. But he played Big 10 technically, right, last year. Stanford, right?
Yeah. He's playing ACC, but yeah.
Same with
Stanford's
Romello.
on the Big 10. I'm sorry.
Like Romello, I haven't really heard Romello's name much this year. I mean, obviously he's still getting pressures. But
I think he's almost got 3 sacks.
See, that's crazy because you don't hear about it.
That's how good the D-line is. Romello Hart would be the star edge rusher on any other team in the Big 12.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. Now let's shift gears to offense. Mason, I know you probably got some good stuff on this. So like, what offensive side of the ball would you see?
Still concerned with drop issues with receivers. I know I got better towards the back end, and that's something that I've loved with this Tech team compared to like the past few years is actually making improvements at half. Something that we have not seen for a very long time. Caleb Douglas struggled a little bit in this game with some drops. However, he did have a huge catch on a 4th down that ended up putting us into the red zone, and I think we scored off that touchdown or that catch. Barron had an okay day. I mean, there were a few balls that were kind of like and then some kind of like boneheaded while you staying in the pocket, kind of get out of there. But us as fans, we see it a lot different than he sees it on the field. So kind of got to give grace in that aspect. But overall, not a bad day from Barron. I mean, he averaged about 8 yards a throw, had 345 yards on the day and a touchdown. And then obviously, I think the biggest thing that needs to be talked about is our backs. Jacoby Williams went over 100 with 2 touchdowns. Cam Dickey was crucial in this game, had 98 yards rushing. And then also on the flip side, had a 69-yard reception for a touchdown that kind of broke open the scoring for us after pretty 2 rough first drives that we had on offense. I mean, considering that we got all the way down our first drive after getting the opening kickoff and then ended up having to kick a field goal and then immediately getting the ball back on a horrible Connor Wegman pass and then settling for another field goal. That play kind of set the tempo for the rest of this game.
That's the defensive line pressure too. Yeah.
So good.
I mean, Gil Howard didn't even let Connor Wakeman stand in the pocket there and get his arm down.
Yeah,
So
I will give
that's what
Houston
lets
a
the
little bit
fumble.
of grace with their O-line, though, because they are missing 3 starters. Now, I wouldn't have done much, but – and I didn't realize this until apparently yesterday. The reason why Connor Wakeman got taken out was because of the concussion protocol thing, which I think was the best.
I saw that they had said that he was out for an injury.
But I think that kind of was like a saving grace for Houston a little, because I think this would have been a lot worse if they still had him in. I mean,
he didn't do much better. I've got the stats pulled up right now. I mean, Zion Chris literally.
But Chris brought the mobile
93 yards.
Struggled with in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just look at the stats and say like he didn't play great, because if you do that for a lot of guys, it's going to make them look like they're complete ass.
Looked like he played elite, and
Barron.
If you watch the game,
played a lot better.
I mean, I get that, but look, Chris got 93 yards on 5 completions for 13. It's the exact same thing Wakeman had. And keep in mind, Chris had that one touchdown, the big touchdown in the second quarter. So other than that completion, he made it 10 yards.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously dominated this game and we did what we were supposed to do. You know, I would never really consider this game to be a kind of scary game, if anything. There definitely was upset potential just because of the crowd and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But being at the game, it was very tech heavy. I mean, hell, you could hear our band over their speaker system and their own band. And I mean, we had control of this game from the start if you watched it. But overall, very dominant performance this weekend. Got a huge test against a really good offense. So this will really test how good our DBs are. I think it's still an area of kind of not concern, because a lot of those PIs were on underthrown balls. So I want to give a little grace to Bryce Pollock and them on that, because Connor Wakeman just could not throw a ball more than 30 yards. But overall, really good team win for us, and I'm excited for homecoming this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm scared for red zone offense.
Yes.
I agree.
That was something I really was nervous on. They were.
Yeah, I mean, we had. Yeah, sorry.
I was just saying, it seemed like we were struggling to score when we got to the red zone. We were able to move down the field, but once we got to the red zone, we couldn't do it.
For the red zone.
Let's look at team stats.
Not good. But the thing is, these are good things.
See, first.
If you want to have something that's not good, red zone percentage, that's fine. You win a game by 24, and we're talking about things that we can improve upon. These are good issues to have. At
least you're in the red zone. You're getting points.
These are.
If that's your biggest concern as a team is getting 7 instead of 3, that's a good problem to have.
It's a great problem to have, and I'm. This is my favorite Tech stat. So Tech is the only college football team to not trail at any point this season. Going into the week, it was us, Miami, and Maryland. Maryland lost. Miami was down 3-0 at one point. So Tech, they take care of business, and that's a thing that when ranked team plays an unranked team, if you don't score first, that just opens the door for kind of doubt. And I think the Tech philosophy has totally shifted this year. Back in Mahomes' days, when the defense would give up 50, it'd feel like if you didn't score a touchdown, you were not having a good drive. And I think that's different with this Tech team, with this elite defense. You're fine with taking 3, and we saw that in the Houston game. The first drive after the Wigman fumble, or whatever you want to call it, they settled for 3. And past Tech teams would have gone for it on 4th down and trying to get that touchdown. With this Tech team is different, and points. You can get points, and then they don't give up points. It's a luxury to have.
For sure. I want to piggyback off of you, Sam, real quick, since we're talking about how dominant our defense has been, and I just saw this stat. So for Houston, throughout the entirety of their game, they were 1 for 12 on 3rd down conversions, and then were 2 for 5 on 4th down conversions. And then you also look at the total yardage in this game, and I just kind of mind-boggled me because I didn't realize there was this big of a difference. Tech had 550 total yards of offense compared to Houston's 260 total. I mean, if you have a 300-yard difference in a game, you are winning about 9 times out of 10. I mean, this was pure domination. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the defense, and thankfully they stepped up when we needed them the most, especially early on in this game. Because there was a point where I thought, kind of towards the end of the first half, where it looked like Houston was gaining momentum, and then defense, you ended up getting that Jacob Rodriguez pick, set up that field goal attempt, which I know Stone missed, but it prevented potentially Houston getting a field goal that would have made it, I think, like a 3-point game instead of it being, like a 10-point game. So huge for defense, and obviously Jacob Rodriguez needs some damn respect. I mean, he didn't even make Big 12 Defensive Player of the week.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Linebacker. Yeah, he didn't win linebacker of the week or whatever.
Yeah, it's
So
I mean, turnovers
it's-
in the end now.
Dude, this guy's an
4.
athlete.
This is off topic, but I
Yeah.
just saw this graphic. CBS Sports just posted something on their playoff predictions as Tech is a 4 seed getting a bye, which this really interests me, and I think it's funny. SEC in this projection, no SEC team gets a bye. It's us, Miami, Oregon, Ohio State, which I think would be pretty nice. I don't see us cracking the top 4 at all this season. Just for obvious
Really?
reasons. For obvious reasons,
I don't know, man.
fan bias. Like
You run the table. Like, if you don't lose the game,
Yeah.
like, the thing is, like, Georgia already has a loss. Alabama, like, all at the SEC, like, the good, blue blood SEC teams already have a loss.
Yeah,
So that means they're
and
more than
I
likely
think-
to lose one more.
I think we
I
should.
think for sure.
I think we should get
Yeah,
top
I agree.
5 at least, but I just knowing brand bias is not going to happen. Like we,
No,
there
but
was
you're already at 9. The fact
I
that you're
think the
already
big
at 9.
yeah.
and then it
Yeah,
I
has,
want
us,
to.
it has us being the 4, playing either Bama or USF, which honestly, to me, that's my biggest hope. I don't want to see A&M. Well, I mean, I would love to see
Oh,
that,
no. Yeah.
but I don't want to see Georgia or Tennessee. I don't want to see OU and Ole Miss. OU and Ole Miss is on the complete other side of the bracket, along with Georgia, Tennessee. So this is our best bet. It'd be us versus either USF and Alabama, and then Ohio State versus Texas A&M or Indiana. I feel like that's
Yeah.
our best bet. I feel like that'd be the best scenario.
The only thing that worries me at least with Bama is their D line against our O line currently. I know Davion Carter's been a dog for us so far, but our tackles for the most part this season have been getting hooked. So that kind of concerns me a little.
Dumb penalties.
Yeah, I'm not worried about.
game.
Yeah, I'm not worried about necessarily our defense against their offense. I think we'll be fine in that aspect, which is insane to say with Bama.
I know.
But
Yeah.
just our O line compared to their depth that they have at D line, it's like pretty much us playing against our own D line.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but that'd be an interesting matchup though. God bless. Imagine having like a Cotton Bowl in Arlington with Tech versus Alabama.
My main concern, 100%, would be our offense.
I agree. I agree with JT.
I do want to buy. Obviously, that's the best case scenario. Like it gives you more time to prepare. But like for experience wise, I want to host a playoff game. Like and I think
That'd be
I
awesome.
think we can get that right now. I think we're definitely in a hunt for. If we go undefeated, I don't think we'll give us top 4. We'll get the 5 seed. We'll play the 12. which
Man, that is
I really
crazy.
don't want because
I
then
I
don't want
think
to be the 5. I would rather be the 6. Play the 11.
I mean, you'll need a lot of
I
things to
think we're
happen,
gonna.
though.
Yeah.
A miracle
Yeah,
to
yeah.
happen to get top 5.
Oh, you guys are.
Yeah,
Like, this is-
I don't necessarily agree because
I'm on
if- I
Mason's
think
side.
if we-
Like, this is.
if we win this week and then win next week at ASU, they have no damn excuse other than the top 4 teams just don't lose at all for us not to be. Now, especially if we dominate ASU next week in Tempe, because this isn't in Lubbock like it was last year. This year, it's a away game this time. If we dominate, especially with how good Sam Levitt's been, I don't see a case we're not top 5. If not top
I can see top 5.
Teams in front of us continue to keep winning. I mean, obviously one of them has
Yeah.
to lose. Or we're gonna
Yeah, because,
be
they all
top
play each other.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, what if the
Yeah.
6 and the 8 in front of us continue to win? They don't lose again. Like that's my
Yeah.
whole thing. They're not gonna let us leapfrog one of those top 4 teams that there currently is right now. They would never let that happen.
Well, not.
So,
But
yeah,
the thing is our back end of the schedule after we play ASU, and then once we play BYU, our last few games of the year are cupcakes. I mean, we've got UCF at home, and then we got at West Virginia. I know we've struggled normally at West Virginia, but if you've seen the case that program's in right now, well, I don't know. We could pull a Penn State.
My game is Kansas State. They're terrible, but they've had our number since.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know we talked about
Trap
games and
That's on
stuff.
the wall.
Yeah, easily. Manhattan, no matter how bad they are, they still show up to games. Like that fan base is one of those that rides through anything, and yeah, it's an intimidating place to play. Even though it's not the biggest stadium, it's not. Oh man, I don't know. I think
it's just the fact that Kansas State's had our number for at least the
Yeah.
past 15 years, at least. Like it's
yeah.
actually insane.
You've already played. The thing is, like, you've already played 2 road Big 12 games, and if they could figure out how to go to a silent count, 'cause you've already played in. Well, Arizona State will probably be up there with Utah in terms of like atmosphere. Like, if they can,
So my thing for the Arizona State game is if Big Noon
They have to win.
kickoffs there, because kickoff in Tempe will be at 2 p.m. 3 p.m. in 3 p.m. in Texas, 2 p.m. in Tempe. If they have a Big Noon kickoff that morning, that's going to be insane. It's going to be like our Colorado from last year.
But I don't think they do that though, because whoever gets Big Noon kickoff normally is that 11 a.m. slot. If I remember correctly.
have
That's
to
what
be.
they did in Utah.
Oh yeah, no, never mind. 'Cause they did last for
I
Colorado.
mean, technically, game day could still go there.
It won't.
Like, right?
Well, what's
they
it
probably
looking like
won't.
next week? What's it looking like next week?
Good, solid. Like, we'll go look at that schedule because, like,
Oh my God! See, I
They
might go to
play
the
at
next
Utah.
LSU at Vandy, Ole Miss at Georgia.
I would not bet on game day. I think if anybody comes to Lubbock, it's going to end up being probably Big Noon kickoff again.
Yeah.
If anybody does.
BYU game is still too far out. If Texas, Tech, like, hypothetically, Tech could be a top 5 team by then. And if BYU stays undefeated, they could be a top 10 team. There is absolutely like
a week before BYU, it's going to be Memphis and USF because they go to one group of 5 every year, and that's going to be the game. That's going to be the one they.
That's a good game. That's a really good game.
That is a really good game.
The week after this Kansas week, obviously it's already predetermined. The week after, it's going to be Ole Miss at Georgia. I know that for a fact. There's no way they're not doing.
I agree because they haven't been to Athens, correct?
Right. I don't think they've been this season. And the only competition for that would be Vandy.
They literally just had the Vanderbilt game the week before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it was at Alabama, but
it's LSU versus Vandy, which Vandy I don't think it ever hosted a game day.
I don't think they would. Vandy's starting to finally crack.
But for me, it's
They were still close with Bama though.
Never hosted a game day.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I wouldn't say they finally are cracking. I think they finally faced the top opponents. So all we're saying is they're just not a top team.
Brother,
AJ,
we gotta stop with the Vanderbilt loving.
No.
I want them to do.
I'm not saying they're a top team. I think they finally played a good team, and they still were hanging close with them. So it's not Vandy's cracking. I would just say it's along the lines of Alabama's just like a better team than Vandy.
Okay, but here's their schedule for the next, just the remaining. LSU this weekend
too, so they're either gonna drop or just stay where they're at.
Then that's completely fine. And I can see that completely.
Yeah, they are. So they're in Eugene.
Okay, well, so let's say Tech wins. It's probably another team that Tech jumps in the polls because they're both ahead. So, and Oregon's winning against Penn State looks bad now.
I don't see rankings shaking up really at all this next week.
The only game, I'm just saying, Arizona State plays at Utah this weekend. And I think what time is it? It's a 9:15 p.m. kickoff in Utah. I'm telling y'all, let's chill. I mean, they can still win, obviously, but Utah wants revenge, and this is their first ranked game since us. Yeah, so.
I think Texas beats OU next week, but that's for our next segment. I'm not going to go.
Ooh, I like it.
We can go there now, can't we? I feel like we've talked
about
that.
No, we got dude. Well, I mean, there's really not a game there. I mean, we can review like the 3 decent games this week, other than ours was.
You throwing in A&M in Florida because
actually 4. There's A&M.
There's a lot of good games this week.
I mean, hey man,
it was Iowa.
If we want to go back to last week when I.
I'm recapping last week.
Okay.
Iowa State at was the big one.
Yeah.
That shook up a lot.
Hey, I tried. I forewarned y'all.
You did.
That was bound to happen. But no, I mean, Cincy, I think, is one of those like kind of like surprisers in the Big 12 this year. Like they're not going to compete, but I think they'll definitely be like finish top 5 in the Big 12.
They're one of those teams that can always like beat anyone on any given day. Like especially
Exactly.
How I feel about Kansas, man.
Keeping it in mind,
and then
I'm torn. Yeah.
Obviously, we had Virginia and Louisville, which was a down to the wire game. And the big one of the week was Vandy, Alabama. Alabama prevailed in the end. And then Miami, Florida State was a great game.
You can't forget the best one of the weekend, though. Penn State, UCLA.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, what about
Yeah, I was about to say, I feel like that's like the one that's got the spotlight right now. I mean, Nico.
Oh.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I don't think we've seen a caliber of a collapse in a team that was projected to be so good as we have with what James Franklin's currently doing at Penn State. Like, it's just
it's a yearly tradition.
Let's not act like, it's something that's easily predictable, but I didn't ever see them collapsing this hard, especially against a team that they were favored by 25 against.
It's 100% yearly tradition, though, Penn.
Yeah. Penn State has no excuse. I mean, they've got pretty much another edge rusher that's going to be a first-round pick in Dennis Sutton. They've got pretty decent DBs. Obviously, their offense with quote-unquote projected top 5 pick Drew Aller. And then they've got the two backs that I'm yeah. hey,
that's not aging well.
You still want to spend a first rounder on him?
I didn't say a first rounder. I just said I wanted him as a quarterback. It's not looking better. No.
But my Lagway, and I'm sorry, I know we're switching. I've been high on Lagway this whole season.
I'm pretty sure I was the one that was high on Lagway last week.
I know he had that bad game.
Yes.
But he prevailed.
He was injured too. Like he didn't run the ball at all. He had no like he looked good, man. I'm just telling you, like he looked good.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger thing that needs to be talked about is because I overhyped their defense a lot just because of off what I saw last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, besides like Colin Simmons and Anthony Hill, dude, their defense is Swiss cheese. I mean, their DBs have been horrendous this year. The guy that I was high on, Malik Muhammad, he's been okay, but he just got fully exposed by which I still think is a pretty bad Florida offense. Now this week they're at A&M, who's now a top 5 team, which pains to say. But I want to see how he does. If he throws only one pick, I consider that a success against A&M.
He's throwing for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns on Saturday. What are you talking about? Dude, they are battle tested now. They're Kyle Field, dude. Easy stadium. Lagway's basically at home. They tried to flip him, dude. They really wanted Lagway.
This is okay. First off, A&M's bringing out the retros for this game, and it's a 6 p.m. kickoff.
They wasted the blackout last week.
I love it. I like Lagway though. I mean, he's a Texas kid. I like him, but hey, it's gonna be a fun game though. It's gonna be a fun game. What else did y'all want to move on to?
I just remembered we got the scores from last week. I guess 31-14, which was pretty close. Hold on, let me get the screen up real quick. JT, you got 41-7. Mason, you were 45-10. And Sam, you were 38-17. So both, it seems closest was probably
definitely
me and Sam
for sure.
Yeah.
That point differential was 3.
Honestly, we were all kind of in the ballpark.
I mean, everybody was in the ballpark.
Outrageous differences.
See, I was 7 points off completely. Sam, you were...
I was 3.
You were 3 and 6, so you were 9. Combined both teams.
Combining both teams, I got you.
Yeah. But no, everybody basically had the right ballpark. Low scoring game for Houston, and a pretty decent one for Tech, 30-40, which ended up with a 35-point game. So.
wanted to
Let's,
mention real. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
JT.
no, you go. You go.
Okay. Since we were talking about Tech real quick, one last thing about Tech before we get on to like our final segment of this. Guys, we landed the #1 defensive tackle in 27 during the Houston game. Jalen Brewster out of Joey's good old, his good old, not hometown, but where he started, becoming a head coach at Cedar Hill in DFW. This is huge. And also I've seen the meme with Cody being in his suite or whatever on his phone pretty much right as he committed. I think that's amazing. Kind of what are y'all's thoughts about this and like just the potential for this 27 recruiting class?
I like it, but I don't like the whole Cody Campbell. I do like what Cody Campbell's doing for us, obviously, but I don't like that they're showing him when he commits. Like, that's just more fuel to the fire for them to just talk about that we're only doing this because of money. And I saw something. Total NIL collective for this season across all sports was 55 million. Tech was 28, and all the analysts have spun it and said that we spent 55 million on football, which is not true. So I hate, and watching that college game day that morning, that's all they talk about. And
it does get pretty annoying.
They act like Ohio State hasn't spent more. They act like Texas hasn't spent more. They act like Oregon hasn't spent more. And here we are competing with these big name teams, spending less money than they do. And yet that's all they can seem to talk about instead of giving the coaching credit. Because yes, you can spend $28 million on a roster, but you have to have someone to lead them. You have to have someone to put them together and make them gel as a team. You can spend all this money on whoever you want to get, but if they don't gel and they don't play together and they all just want to be showboats, you can't win. So it's more to it than just, hey, they spent $28 million on a roster. You got to coach them up. You got to play prep and everything. Like there's so much more that goes into it. And obviously I'm glad we're getting these recruits, but it's the disrespect that comes from it that really pisses me off because all these schools do it. Everyone can do it now. Mm-hmm. It's not just us. We're taking advantage of the resources we have at hand. That's what everyone else is doing. It's just we happen to have more. So people need to accept the fact that we're doing what every other school does, and we're not even the highest spender. Yet we can pull off getting these guys because we're having success with it. Any facility, they see how we're succeeding right now. We're a top 10 team, top 15 offense and defense. Brand new facilities, coaching staff, obviously the NIL. Who wouldn't want to come play here? That's the same with Ohio State. It's the same with Oregon. It's why all these schools get all these recruits, and now we just happen to be in the mix, and all the people can talk about is the money. Why not give McGuire credit? Why not give Leftwich credit? Why not give Shield Wood credit? Like Coach Perry, there's so much more to the equation than just money.
I mean, I get where you're coming from, but also at the same time, we gotta admit, look at the teams that are in front of us, and yes, they are spending more money than us. But they also have the dynasty to back them up. Tech came out of basically nowhere and are now putting themselves in the top 5.
The historic part doesn't matter anymore.
I'm aware of that, but also you got to look at everybody else now. Everybody else is just like, where the hell did Texas Tech come from when you had Ohio State, Texas that have these long traditions? Why all of a sudden are you going to Tech? And then you hear the money and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Everybody's going to go for the money.
Yeah, but
I think that's why the media spends it.
That's why the media is on us as hard as it is.
Yeah, tradition, kids don't give, when you're going to play somewhere, you don't give a shit about tradition anymore. It's who has the biggest paycheck. And it's
also,
yeah, but you're talking about how disrespected you're feeling by the media, and the media is coming at us and disrespecting us just because we're literally spending the money when we had the other guys who, yeah, they're spending the money, but it's a little bit different because they have tradition behind them. I mean, how many national championships does Ohio State or
I get what you're saying too.
Everybody else? I get what you're saying
too. It's just they need to realize kids don't care about past. They care about the present. They care about where they're going to play, if they're going to start, if they're going to get paid. Tradition nowadays in NIL, tradition doesn't mean anything. It's irrelevant. It's last year tradition and previous dynasties are wiped out. Look at Alabama now. Yeah, Alabama's probably one of the most storied programs in football. Yet look at where they're at now. Like they're not at the same. Obviously, they're still competing for a national championship, but like they're not at the same level. You can say the same. Princeton or Yale, I think is one or the other, has the most national championships in college football history. Like that's history, that's tradition. Yet no one goes there. Like it's tradition's been thrown out the window, and Everyone's spending money now. Memphis is spending money. Memphis has a big NIL collective, but no one talks about it. And I know it's a group of 5
FedEx, baby.
Yeah, USF too. USF has a big they have a decent alumni base. They have a couple full-time millionaires that have graduated from there. Like it's there's more to it than what they're saying. And I get obviously what you're saying with tradition, and that is true. Obviously, they're not going to talk about the big brands like that because they've been there and done that pre-NIL era. It makes sense. But ultimately, at the same time, you could talk, well, Texas Tech with this transfer class and this NIL money. It's the same with every team. Every team has NIL to spend. Sure, we have more than others. But at the same time, like I said, you can go get these guys. It's the same with Ryan Day last year. Ohio State had the most expensive roster. Ryan Day is a good coach. He put the team together and put them in positions to win. That's what Joey McGuire's doing, and yet no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And when Ohio State paid those players last year, no one mentioned Ohio State's NIL. They only mentioned how good Coach Ryan Day was. Just
that it's the reason that everyone talks about the portal is because we haven't gotten to the point where we're getting in these like big name recruits. In 2 years, like the portal talks will decline because that's basically where we got most of the talent for this season. It was through the portal. But again, all these teams that we're up with now in their rankings, they spend the same. And like, I agree with what AJ says about the kind of the, why is this happening? Well, they have to look at something and they got to blame it on, it's because of the money. So like, why does anybody want to go out to West Texas? There's nothing to do there. Like they have to, like the media, they need clicks, they need views. That's how people stay engaged. And they need a reason, like, why is Tech good? Oh, it's because they spent all this money. If you look at it, yeah, we spent a bunch of money. It's not like we're spending more. It's just that we are actually spending money. Like we hadn't been. Like obviously we spent money, but like this year, like we utilized it properly.
Yeah.
And that's why you're seeing the benefits of it.
Yeah. No, I think everybody's making extremely valid points. Obviously, I mean, Tech is going to obviously be like the kind of unicorn in this case because it's a program that has not won a conference championship since Christopher Columbus, came over. So that's kind of been everybody's like, big thing. And it makes sense, right? I mean, you look at other schools in the state of Texas and what they've done, and then you look at little old Texas Technological College out in Lubbock, and oh my God, now you've got number 1 recruit coming, and now you've got this 5-star coming. But we would be lying if we said most of our recruits are not coming here for money. So Damian Guyton,
100%.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to discredit anybody and say like any of y'all are wrong because you're absolutely all right. It's just, and and a lot of it is just smart business, and that's why it's good to have a guy like Cody Campbell and having guys like Blanchard because we first went after Damian Guyton's quarterback, who was a fringe 3-star guy, right? We built that pipeline and then ended up sneaking our way into getting him. You look at Jalen Brewster, kid that's from Joey's old high school. That one, I think, is more relationship than it is NIL because Joey is very prominent in DFW, especially if you're around the high school football scene in that area. And then you look at Micah Hudson, right? Obviously, he hasn't turned out the way we wanted him to, but when he committed to Tech, first ever 5-star we've had, we offered him less than UT offered him. I know that for a complete fact. So relationships are extremely being built, and I think Joey, he may not be the best X and O, coach, but he's one of the best recruiters in the country, and that's all our staff is a bunch of good recruiters and a bunch of guys that have been proven developers, especially with Shield Wood on defense. I think that's what's attracting a lot of these guys. Now the only concern is, and which I don't know if we're able to sign these guys, like high school guys, to contracts yet that secures them with us. But, say, for example, if Shield Wood does go and he gets a head coaching gig, that's kind of the area that's like, well, if this is relationship built, how is that going to impact it? But, I mean, overall, though, Tech is just doing what Tech is pretty much doing what SMU did back in the 80s. Now that it's finally legal, and people hated SMU for it. People thought they were the worst school on earth. Meanwhile, A&M was doing the same thing, which look up the Eric Dickerson stuff and you'll see. Yeah. But I think
it's funny too. You mentioned A&M. I was just looking at A&M's NIL collective.
Let's get on this. Yeah.
It's okay. Hear me out. It's $2.7 million less than our total athletic fund, which is ours is 55. Theirs is it's just at 53, maybe just shy. So I'm looking here. I have this article pulled up. Football spent 20 estimated $19.87 million this year on their roster. Why is no one talking about that? Now, here's a key thing. Their athletic fund boosted $31 million this year from the last year. Why? What has A&M done in the past 20 years that has really, like, warranted them not getting talked about in the same way as us? If you think about it.
I guess.
Completely agree.
I mean, yeah. No, I agree.
Like,
I think the one thing is, though,
They did have that recruiting class
They're-
2 years ago or whatever it was.
31 million.
That big
Yeah,
year
I
A&M
think
had that recruiting
Yeah.
class. That might be their like
Well-
leeway
well,
before
and
the
that
NIL.
was, yeah. And AJ, that year's class was the exact definition of what it is when you grab a bunch of talent with no development. No shade to Jimbo Fisher and what he's done in his coaching career. Obviously, is
Jimbo
one of
don't care.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Getting
When
paid
he's
right
one of
now.
these, hey, literally sitting on his ass doing nothing. But, he's one of the better college football coaches we've had, right? But just the egos and, like, that's another thing that I've noticed with this Tech team. You don't have a bunch of egos. You don't have a bunch of guys
So
that are
true.
like, I got
Yes.
paid more than you, or, like flaunting chains. And it's like, well, damn, like he's the one guy. That's the problem with that A&M team. You had guys that were on Instagram Live driving around in a parking garage going like 90 miles an hour. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it was just a bad culture with a lot of guys that got paid. I think it was damn near like 30 mil right as NIL started. And now people are hating on Tech and the fact that we perfected that formula, right? But we built the relationship part and the financial part of it. And we're bringing guys from different regions that normally wouldn't come to Tech, right? Because Tech, like just in general, has normally developed in the state of Texas. Now we're going into pipelines like Georgia. We're going into Florida. We're going into Louisiana. Like, you know what I mean? We're reaching out. And I think people are finally starting to kind of get scared at the fact that, holy shit, the Rabbit has the gun now. Like, it's not just, the Ohio States and the UTs, because we're matching them in money. I mean, we're not doing anything crazy. You know
I mean,
what
we got oil.
But-
We got oil money, which is a very profitable money market. Unlike some other alumni who maybe just have theirs in just like regular businesses or consumptions. Ours is generally one of the most popular or one of the most money-making things in the world. That's helping us out. I mean, look at Saudi Arabia. They make all their money on straight up oil.
I have the top 10 NIL spenders this season pulled up, and it has us ranked third because it doesn't give like an actual number. It gives an estimate, which I know our actual number is 28.2. Tennessee spent 22.7. Where's the talk on them? Auburn spent 21. USC spent 24. Like it's again, when they were talking about Auburn on game day, it's all credit to their coach, Jackson Arnold, all their great playmakers. When they talk about us, it's just credit to Cody Campbell and all the money. Like, Auburn spent over $20 million too. Like, I'm just saying, it's got to come to a point where they just need, and as ESPN analysts, they need to understand that that's the norm now. Like, it's a whole different era, and I would think out of anyone, they would be the ones to understand that.
Nick Saban should know that's what led him out of coaching. I mean, if we're going to talk about guys
you gotta have someone to keep the guys going. Like, you can go get paid and you get a guaranteed contract, because that's what it is now, is contracts. You can go get paid and you get a guaranteed sum of money. You don't have to perform. You're guaranteed what they're giving you. So, and that's what the agents do. But it's like, you still have to get the guy to coach the team. You still have to get the playmakers the ball. You still have to find coordinators to do stuff. It's not just about the money. And we've spent it in a perfect way, I think. And honestly, I know I've harped on it like the last 20 minutes, I feel like. But like, I'm good with them talking about the money, just not every time you bring us up. Give credit to Morton, give credit to Dickey and Jacoby, give credit to Caleb Douglas, Reggie Virgil. Give credit
to Blanchard, man. Hey.
Yeah,
credit to Blanchard.
Give credit to the guys that go to work every day. I'm not saying Cody Campbell does, because he obviously does. But like, give credit to the guys who are actually out there on the field and in the offices doing the work.
Yeah. I mean,
there's so much to be talked about.
I guess now y'all want to go into AP poll, or you got anything else to add?
We're good.
Yeah, I mean, we do like a quick little, or whatever y'all want to do. We just do a quick little rundown of it.
I think for the most part, we all kind of called each other after on the road trip since we all had 8 hours to kill. We all kind of were in the same boat with the AP poll. I think you can change one or two teams around, but I think the 25 teams are the 25 teams you would mostly want. I know JT's got one against Notre Dame, but I think that's the only one there. I mean, they're the only team with 2 losses in there. Oh, and Florida State.
Let me explain my argument real fast with Notre Dame for all the people. Well, for the people that watch this who might think Notre Dame's better. They're in the same boat as Auburn. Auburn has 2 of the same caliber, if not better, losses than Notre Dame. Notre Dame had 1 at home. Auburn had both of theirs away. They're both sitting at 3-2. Auburn honestly got cheated at OU, and even the NCAA came out and admitted it. So again, you take that away, they're 4-1. So there's that, and then they also lost at A&M. They lost at A&M. A&M beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That looks so much worse. Like, Auburn has the same strength of schedule, if not better, than Notre Dame's. And then why is Notre Dame getting this credit, but Auburn's not? And Auburn plays in a conference, unlike Notre Dame, where Notre Dame's just playing these cupcakes. And they go. They're at home against NC State next week. Like, I notice, like, it's NC State. They just lost to Virginia Tech. Like, I don't get it. Notre Dame will probably blow them out. And if NC State wins, there's no reason at all that I should see a single vote for Notre Dame ever again for this season.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's just along the lines of timing. I mean, like I said, I counter you on Notre Dame is just the reason they stayed in there is because of their preseason poll. And I get it's preseason poll, but every week they had them still up there even after the losses. So it'd be harder to drop them than it would be to give Auburn up or to push Auburn up after losses. It's easier to drop than it is to go up after losses.
But see, it's the same thing with Penn State now, and the same thing with, like, Texas. It's the same record. They have the same record as Notre Dame. Sure, their losses aren't as good, but like, if we're going off the preseason stuff, and that's the same argument for Texas and Penn State right now. That's my only problem with it. I mean, I get where you're coming from. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like then you if you bring that up for Notre Dame, then you start to make the argument for Texas and Penn State, who are ranked higher than Notre Dame at the time. You know.
I mean, I also said with Notre Dame, their losses were both really, really close. I mean, they lost to A&M by 1 point, which it took the last play of the game to come in to win, and then I'm trying to remember what the score of the Miami game, but I'm pretty sure that was just a 7-point game.
It was pretty low score.
Yeah. So I mean, it's 2 teams that they have currently ranked, Miami 2nd and Texas A&M 5th, that they've lost a total of 9 points to both of those guys. So they were capable. They were fighting them. I can see why they kept Notre Dame in. I wouldn't mind them if they kept them down with Florida State down there instead of keeping them as high as they are in the teens. But I mean, again, they were close to the 2 teams that were 2nd and 5th, and also keep in mind Notre Dame won it all was 2nd last year, right behind Ohio State.
That shouldn't factor into it though. Like I hate past year bias. Well, I hate it does though, because let's just do this shit. TCU after their national championship season, right? Arguably, they were one of the worst teams in 2023 by far, but they went into that season ranked 15th and then set off Deion Sanders and made that team look super good in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And then Colorado ended up finishing, I think it was 4-8, and then TCU was 5-7.
So but see, we went back and looked and said, hey, that wasn't really as quality a win as we thought. I mean, but we're looking back at the Notre Dame losses at the start of the season, and we're saying, those are still quality losses 6 weeks later.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously I think the marginal loss was
Huh?
I mean, at Ohio State, honestly, is number 1, and then at Florida. I mean, if Georgia went and lost at Florida, which obviously they play in Jacksonville, I guess if Alabama went and lost at Florida tomorrow, they'd still be ranked. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to make sense.
The thing is, Alabama has Texas has not beat a Power 4 team.
Yeah, they're still
right.
looking
Texas, congratulations, you beat Sam Houston State. Like, until you've like, that's why I'm a big fan of the idea thrown around that they shouldn't even do preseason AP polls. Don't have a ranking till like 3 weeks in. Then you can rank teams based off resume. Because they're getting better at it. The AP is getting a lot better at, okay, these preseason rankings don't mean anything until they actually beat a real team. Penn State and Texas should not be in because they haven't beat a real team. Notre Dame shouldn't be as high as they are. I agree with JT on that. But they beat Boise State, which in my eyes would be a solid team in the ACC or the Big 12. Again, they lost to USF, but Boise State is a solid Mountain West team, and that win, and also the brand recognition is also huge. Like the AP, like that's the whole thing. Like, and that's why we're just now getting Group of 5 teams ranked. So.
That the rankings need to come out a week after every single team is played.
The only thing with rankings are always going to be very just inconsistent because week in and week out there are going to be teams that end up popping in and pop out. I mean, we saw TCU sneak into number 24 and they just went toe to toe to an absolutely horrendous Colorado team. So. I mean, we look at this right now. We got Iowa State, who likely is not even going to end up being like a top 35 team at the end of this season. They're still ranked. Florida State still hanging in there for dear life. I mean, that Bama game pretty much
it's leaving them all
saved
up
their
there,
season. Yeah.
I mean, it was more of an argument with Notre Dame, though. I'm looking at their schedule. They're like the 2 important games that they needed to win to make a strong case for strength of schedule. They lost. The rest of the season is a cakewalk. I mean, maybe USC at home. Like, they're playing them at home.
I mean, if Notre Dame doesn't get a playoff spot, it is what it is. I'm fine if they get bowl eligibility, but I don't need them.
I mean, they should get
right now. They're not even bowl eligible, or they're not playoff spot. They're good.
But that's my problem. If they stay at 10-2, they will get a playoff spot because it's Notre Dame. Yeah, that's why they need to be unranked. That's why they need to be unranked because you're rewarding a team for losing twice who only plays cupcakes. Other than and the 2 games that weren't cupcakes, you couldn't win.
So
that's true.
It's like,
okay, what about the ACC teams and Big 12 teams?
Playoffs.
I mean,
but at least it's consistent competition. At least it's conference competition, something that Notre Dame doesn't have.
Because Notre Dame, they can choose whoever they want to play. Because it's really smart on their end. If they think Miami and A&M, whenever they schedule the games, like you should only schedule 2 elite games. Because even if you lose them. Just as JT says, you don't play a conference champion. You can go 10-2 and you'll get into the playoffs because you're Notre Dame.
I will say though, majority of their schedule is like ACC. The rest of the way though, I mean, it's not because football is the only sport that is not in a conference for Notre Dame. They are ACC for basketball, for baseball. I mean, they're ACC for literally everything except football. So
and that's only
a lot of it is just because of money and it's because of NBC and whatever deal they've had since like 1900s. They've kept it just because it's their biggest cash grab. But I agree that there's no consistent. But when you look at their opponents, and I'm not trying to side with AJ on this, but I mean they're playing teams like going into this season. That Arkansas game would have been a very competent game. Obviously, I mean yes, Arkansas struggled, and they're one of the worst teams right now. But their offense was pretty solid, and they kept them to 13. A&M, top 5 team right now, lost to them by 1 at home, and then only lost by 3 at Miami, who in my opinion, Miami should be number 1 right now in the country.
Miami should be 1, yes.
Yeah, and then Boise State, like Sam had pointed out, they have another Ashton Genie type of running back. Not going to be like a Heisman contender, but he's been a really good back for them. And yeah, they've got NC State this week. That'll be a cupcake game. Then they've got USC, which still has a really good offense, and it may be another one of those kind of A&M games where it's high scoring. And then they've got, a few games that are going to be really easy to finish out the year. But I agree, and I also do, and then going to JT's argument, I do hate the fact that they could get into the playoff with 2 losses and that pretty much their entire schedule, the rest of their schedule, there's no ranked teams. So, and I agree with that part because just the brand aspect is going to get them and will sneak them into hell, that could be like an 11th seed or 12th seed. Right.
Yeah.
So,
because we'll be ranked higher than USF or whoever gets the Group of 5 bid. And that's also the thing, like, too, with me. Miami for Miami, it's not even a home game. They play in Hard Rock, which is like an hour from their campus. And there's that too. Like obviously, yes, it was a good atmosphere, but like that stadium's never sold out for a Miami Hurricanes game ever.
But technically, that's their home stadium right now, right?
It is. But I'm saying it's an hour.
I agree because it's ridiculous. They shouldn't play there. It's nowhere near campus, and it just.
It's just stuff like that. When it's like the same thing for Texas. If Texas finishes 10-2, they'll be ranked inside the top 15.
Well, but they're playing SEC level.
Texas,
they're not finishing 10.
They're not finishing 10-2 this season, but at that point, I would give them credit.
Well, even if they do win out, they struggled against a really bad UTEP team. Let's not forget that. They pretty much for 3 quarters were only up by about a touchdown and maybe a field goal. Texas has no – I mean, if they don't win, they have to win out to even have a chance at making – because they're not going to make the SEC championship.
If they win out, they're going to make the CFP. Like, the thing is, the committee recency bias is king.
Yeah,
no one
I
really
agree
cares
with
about
that.
the loss you had 2 months ago.
But that's the part that pisses me. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the part that just angers me because
when we talk about when Alabama and Texas played, like, why do you even schedule those games? Those games, because that was whenever they weren't in the SEC. Like, why schedule those games? That win or loss isn't going to matter in 2 months. Exactly. In my eyes, you schedule. Like, if you are 2-loss SEC or Big Ten team, 90% of the time you're going to get it. So schedule those 4 cupcake non-con games and hope you have an easy conference play where you don't play, Florida schedule.
I mean, but
yeah, I agree.
If Texas wins out, you got to give them credit because they're playing 3 out of 4. Jesus Christ, they're playing 4 ranked opponents, and then 3 of those are going to be in top 10. 2 of those in top 5. So, yeah, if Texas wins out, they should deserve a spot. They'll be. If you put them at 10-12, nobody's going to complain.
No, they do. Yes, because there was how many 7 2-loss teams that made it last year or something. There was a lot of 2-loss teams. I feel like last year.
And how many of them came? There was 3, and 3 of those came from the SEC.
Yeah. Dude, I'd rather put Mississippi State over them right now. If we're going to be honest, I'd rather put Mississippi State in the playoff over UT. Just purely how much that, and I think this team is going to have a Penn State effect for the rest of the season. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's a comparable loss to what, obviously, because I think their defense is really good. But that team they have there's no energy behind them. There's no oh damn, UT's on. Who's exciting? There's no player that's sticking out for them. All of their guys that were supposed to be these top 10 in every category guys are barely scraping top 25, top 30 in that position. Arch Manning has been a failed experiment. I think Quinn Ewers deserves huge apology from most people.
I do too.
That wanted his head for them not, scraping past Ohio State or whatnot. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes. Let's not act like he was a great quarterback. But compared to what they've got right now, and I just don't know. And I understand because I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, well, damn, people would rather watch a UT and Tech playoff game rather than a USF versus Tech game. So I think that's what it really comes down to. But if we're talking about deserving, though, I don't. Just simply because if you actually look at every game they've played so far, the only game they've been dominated in has been Sam Houston.
Yeah, but
that's it.
And they're 0-6 or 0-5.
Again, going back to devil's advocate here, y'all are talking about how they've looked so far, but we're saying if they win out, that's a bunch of ifs. They could. What if they destroy Oklahoma?
If they somehow win out in the SEC with a one SEC loss, great. They can be. It's just not going to happen.
I'm aware of that, but I'm just like I said. You guys are out here saying, "Oh, they look awful right now."
I agreed with you the whole time.
I'm I get it, but I'm saying if they turn it around, it's turned around.
But I think the fact, and this should be so damn telling, they went from 9th to unranked after this loss. And the amount of bias that they normally have for UT, that they were willing to drop them from 9th to unranked. Now, obviously, the college football playoff rankings are a whole different system and a whole different, because that's a bunch of ADs and stuff like that. I'm just saying from deserving, and you look at the whole season rather than just the back half of the season, because technically that's what screwed Florida State in 2023. They were 13-0. But and yes, they got tossed by Georgia in the I think it was it Peach Bowl? I think it was an Orange Bowl.
That's a home game for Georgia.
Yes. And it's so hard to just say, well, damn, they did really good at the second half. But then it's like, well, if we're going to, by their criteria, if they look at the full 12 games or 13, depending if you make the conference championship game, that should be how it's evaluated, not just by, well, damn, they did good in the second half. And I think they have a lot of momentum, which I think it is telling. But they always do it by strength of schedule and how much you beat your teams by and everything like that. That's what's kind of helped Tech so far this year is the fact that we didn't struggle in non-conference. We whooped everyone's ass that we played. Texas can't say that, though, against inferior opponents.
Yeah.
So so I don't mean to keep ranting about it, but it's hard for me because it's like
my thing with this 23 Florida State thing is that whole argument was because Jordan Travis got injured. If Jordan Travis was that valuable to that team, he should have won the Heisman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's a valid point.
And it's just and that's the problem with the process. And I think all of us, I think all of us can agree on this that the ranking system it is improving, like you said, Sam. But we've got to find some way with all the analytics and stuff that we have nowadays. There's got to be some way to make it more balanced because there's just too much inconsistency from week to week to week. Because if I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think Texas should have completely fell out of the top 25. Just because I do think Florida is somewhat decent of a team. I'm not saying they're great, but their defense is pretty solid. And offense, which I know y'all love DJ Lagway, they are improving.
Right.
That's
right.
So, you know what I mean?
Florida's a top 5 team in my eyes.
If we're rewarding ranked losses for Notre Dame, then why aren't we doing the same thing for Florida?
And I agree. And that's why it's
there's
too much inconsistency. And it's just that's what's
If you
killing.
want the honest way to get rid of the whole system,
if we're going off of they were so close to winning, then Florida should be like number 1.
Yeah.
I mean,
if that's a criteria that we're getting voted in on is they were close to winning, then you still didn't win. It's not in the playoffs. If you come close to winning, like Arizona State last year, if you have a game versus Texas and you lose in overtime, they're like, oh, they were so close, right? That doesn't matter. You didn't win.
Yeah.
Say all you want about these games were so close or this game was really close. Like, God, they should have won. It's like the full SEC hypothetical crap. Like, you didn't win. Ultimately, you didn't win when it mattered. And that's my whole thing. If we're rewarding Notre Dame for their 2 ranked losses, then we should be rewarding Florida for their ranked losses.
JT, I completely agree with you. And in 2022, which was one of the biggest discussions of this, and Nick Saban still to this day believes it, that Bama won it in over TCU because TCU lost in that Big 12 championship game. And then Bama ended up having a, back half of the season resurgence. They ended up winning the SEC. And I think they got in, but they barely got in. But they wanted like a better seed or something like that because they felt they didn't even get in. Yeah, because it was still 4 at the time, and they had this huge argument. Well, damn, our 2 quality losses were better than that. So it's
they got it down now.
Yeah, which I'm glad we're at 12 now. But that's what I'm saying. Like with the whole SEC
you should
thing.
not, and that's what they did last year, which I loved. They kept Alabama out because you should not be penalized for losing your conference championship.
Yeah.
I agree. It's the same argument that USC tried to make last year, and like South Carolina and Ole Miss. They're like, well, we're sitting here. Didn't South Carolina finish 8-4 in the regular season? And they were
9-3. They went 9-3.
Well, they're trying to argue that they didn't win. It's the same with Ole Miss. They're trying to argue just because their losses were good. You didn't win. You're not going to get rewarded.
I missed when the win and loss column actually meant something. Like if you win a game, you won it.
Yes, you need the BCS championships back.
I think it's underappreciated. I really do, and it brings back importance to bowl games, which I know it's sitting out and everything like that. That's kind of what killed it, but it's just rough. AJ, I know you were wanting to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
With the way you guys are complaining at this point, I'm just saying get rid of the whole rank system and go to the relegation system that everybody's been throwing out as a possibility.
God, no.
The super conference.
I honestly like the relegation system and just make them full off playoffs from there. Just old fashioned. I mean,
That's just this
Yeah,
Premier League.
At the end of the day, the AP rankings don't matter.
Yeah,
We just we won't
But but it does to some extent because again, Notre Dame's sitting here at 18, still in the hunt with just barely being over 500, and yet they're still considered in the hunt. Like it's stuff like that. When North Texas is sitting here undefeated, yes, they haven't played quality opponents, but they're 5-0. They haven't lost. Like there's no point in winning anymore if we're just gonna base it off of losses.
And I think the AP they kind of just base it off speculation.
You're benefiting the groups of five powerhouses if you just put in every team that hasn't lost. Because then you're going to have North Texas in there. You'll have Memphis. You'll have all of them in there because they'll be 5-0 and 6-0 and whatever going into these final weeks. Or going into these weeks.
There's not a lot of undefeated teams left.
North Texas, there's 15.
Yeah, but would you tell me North Texas is better than Tennessee, Michigan, Virginia, Vanderbilt?
The only problem is
they're better than Vanderbilt. I think they're better than Vanderbilt.
I'm just going with these teams that are one ranked that are currently above everybody.
The only problem is with college football, and it's become so prominent over the past few years, and I hate it because it's starting to turn into a professional game. Is all the hypotheticals. For the love of Christ, you play who you play. Like, I'm tired of hearing, well, damn, if Tech played A&M today, who would win that on a neutral field? It doesn't matter. Like, and it's so frustrating because, well, we could say right now, if Notre Dame and UT played on a hypothetical field, who would win that game?
Notre Dame.
I don't know.
I 100% would say Notre Dame would beat UT.
Oh,
I don't know.
I mean, again,
it'd be interesting. It would be interesting, but
I don't even think it would be interesting. I think that defense would destroy ours.
Statistics right now with North Texas, they're averaging their point average per game is in the mid-40s.
Yeah, and I feel like they should at least be top 25 in my opinion. I don't know why, and I understand because South Florida's won losses to Miami, but I do feel like North Texas, especially is it Chad Morris or is it
Yeah, I think Chad.
Chad Morris.
Chad. Oh my God, what's his face?
So many Morrises, but you know what he's doing right now for being the head coach of North Texas and that offense. I mean, he's being considered right now by Eric Morris. Okay. Yeah, God bless. No, Chad Morris was the former Arkansas and SMU head coach.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and we all are making great points. Like at the end of the day, we're just discussing, and I do think that the current system we have is just not set in stone. There's no like guidelines that we as fans can read and be like, okay, that's why they make these decisions. Because on committee day, they do look at AP ranked wins and losses and they go, well, they lost to them when they were 10th or they lost to them when they were 9th. But then that team ends up being unranked by week 12 and they're sitting at like, shoot. Well, and this is a good example of this. Last year with Oklahoma State, right? You know, that Utah game that they played against them, Utah was like, what, I think 16th going into that game. And then Oklahoma State was like fringe, almost ranked. And, you know, kind of look back at that ranked game. It's like, okay, well, at that time, Okie State wasn't that bad. You know, they hadn't fully collapsed yet and not, you know, winless in the Big 12. So it's just the hypothetical is what's killing just the pure, well, they won. Their record says 13-0. I don't think an undefeated team should ever miss out on the playoffs, and that's why I'm glad we have this 12 playoff right now. But
Mason, counter you real quick. Yeah. If you don't keep track of teams that do have former wins, ranked wins, what happens if your opponent loses their starting quarterback for the season the week after you? So now you're getting punished for beating the team when they were ranked top 5, but yet now since their quarterback's out for the season, you can't look at that game anymore because they were better opponent back then because they had their starting quarterback.
But the thing is you can't.
Huh?
You just can't. You can't. Oh,
I mean, that's the exact same thing that happened with Florida State in 2023. That's exactly what they did to them.
I know, but I'm saying from the other end. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm just going to, because I'm an NFL guy. I'm going to use the Browns versus Ravens. Week 2, we got destroyed the crap out of us by the Ravens with Lamar Jackson. And then now we're in week 5 and Lamar Jackson's out for the season and half their roster is gone. Why should another team be punished for Lamar Jackson being out and all their defense, the Ravens' defense, and everybody being out? How should that affect? Let's just say Cleveland was perfect except that game.
That's the difference.
Huh?
College is just a very different game when it comes to rankings.
Injuries aren't different.
And
Injuries aren't different. If it, let's say, shit. I don't
But
know.
AJ, this is 12 teams out of like 130 something that are getting into this playoff versus I think is it 8 per conference? I think they get in, if I remember correctly.
What are you talking
Or
for
is it
NFL?
6?
It's 7.
For NFL, yeah,
Yeah, 7.
Yeah. So, and it's just that's the biggest problem because there's going to be a lot of teams that deserve to get in that don't, and there's going to be a lot that don't deserve to get in that still get in just because of bias. And it's just that's what makes college football a little bit different in that aspect is because we've seen it over the years, teams that have been god awful, but they still stick like Clemson for a while there. They would go like 10 like last year. They snuck into the ACC championship game by a prayer. Right, that team was god awful. Yes. They did end up beating SMU in the ACC championship game. Yeah, and that was a very messy game. Like winter college football is so bipolar, but it's so hard to. Yeah, it's just college right now. We just need to figure out a way to properly reward teams for how good of wins they have, and then also at the same time take into the fact that yes, they did play a very good team at that point. There's just no win-win in this situation. There's no good answer, but we have to try to find the best way to get to it. Or unless we're gonna keep having a bunch of these Notre Dame cases or a bunch of these potential like Florida State right now, right? So I don't know.
Notre Dame plays Navy this season. Navy's currently sitting at 5-0, right? If Notre Dame loses that game to Navy, is that considered a good loss? Is that, you get what I'm saying?
I mean, that's Navy currently. They face Navy down the road.
Yeah, we're just in a really rough spot right now, and I think
there's losses and then there's bad losses. I think that's just kind of how you have to look at it. There's wins and there's good wins. There's losses and bad losses. Like there's no such thing as a good loss because you lost.
Yeah, but
I feel like that sums it up. I kind of gotta go soon. So
yeah, we'll quit our rant and everything, but
the AP rant. That's what the title of the video needs to be.
Man,
we could.
Oof.
I could switch it up and put it as that.
we might need to. We might
Let's
need
just
to.
be the committee.
This is what it does to people right here. It drives us insane. Our team isn't even having a problem right now with it. That's the funny part. We're cruise sailing, but
we chose one team and decided to hate the system. That's how it started.
Yeah.
It all started with Notre Dame.
It was a good episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. JT, you brought it in. You want to bring it up?
Yes, sir. So thank you for watching the first segment this week on Mad Sports Talk. It was an interesting one. I really didn't expect to get that in depth. But yeah, we will see y'all Thursday afternoon.
Bet.
Yep, see y'all.